Nice.
And you heard that, and all of the kids, like all of them, just went, "What is that?" Joined my first band, which was Four Dead Crows. We used to play Jimmy Page.
Right,
Jimmy Page
okay.
had one. Like I think he used it for Kashmir.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of the Blues Jam podcast. I have got a great interview for you this week with Danny Thistlethwaite, who is not only part owner of Intersound Guitars in Dursley in Gloucestershire, but is also one of the guitarists in the Blues Triad band and an avid Blues Jam attendee. He's going to be telling us all about starting up bands, how he first heard about Jimi Hendrix, and showing us some great guitars from inside the shop. If you like what you've been hearing so far on the podcast, please do subscribe to the channel, tell a friend about it, let people know, share it about so that other people can enjoy it as well. And please stay tuned to the very end where I'll be giving you some notices about jams that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Right, well, we get started very simply by me saying, may you please introduce yourself.
My name is Daniel Thistlethwaite.
And if you're willing to, and you can use an age bracket, if you want, what's your age?
I'm 31 years old.
31. Brilliant. Okay, great. Again, just to give context, just so that I know and other people might know, and they can put.
I'm about 90 years old on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
You're an old soul on
I'm an
young
old
shoulders.
soul. Yeah. All my friends are all 50 plus. Okay. That's why I got along with all the old guys at the jam.
At the jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always an interesting crowd, no matter which one you go to.
Yeah. I want to come down to the Terraplanes one actually. I've not been yet, but I've just not had a Sunday free. Or I've had a Sunday free, but it's the only thing that I've had a free day. So I've just been chilling out really. But I would like to go down. It sounds amazing. Sounds really cool. And the fact that it's on a boat.
It's great.
That's cool. Very cool.
It's great on a boat. It's a small, intimate venue. It's nice. Mm. So where are we? We
are in Intersound Guitars in Dursley, Gloucestershire. This is my own part of this business. It's we've been here for 26 years now. It was started by Steve Smith back in 1997. I bought into the business when I was 29, 30, something like that. So I've only been here for a couple of years, but I've been around the shop since I was about 18.
Right.
So yeah.
Was this somewhere where you used to come and sort of pour over the guitars?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was so I'm originally from Lancashire.
Right.
So I moved down when I was 16. We moved from our family home in Lancashire to Wootton, just where the jam is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I basically was looking for a job when I was sort of 18, 19, after going to college in Stroud, and I came in to the shop and I said, "Can I get a job? Can I have a full-time job, I should say?" And Steve said, "No, sorry." I said, "Can I have a part-time job?" He said, "No, I'm afraid not." I said, "Can I have a Saturday job?" He said, "No, we don't need anyone, I'm afraid." I said, "Can I work on Saturday for free?" He said, "Absolutely." So yeah, I started working here just for free on a Saturday, learning about restringing guitars, learning about guitars. I came to guitar quite late. I started when I was about 12, 13, but I didn't really get into it in a big way. It was only when I hit about 15, 16 when I started listening to like Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, and then a little bit later Velvet Underground and just like that kind of 60s stuff, that I really got into guitar and music in a big way.
Right. Was there anything that brought that about, you suddenly listening to those bands? I
think it just hitting puberty, really, just hitting that sort of 14, 15, seeing Jim Morrison, seeing Jimi Hendrix. And I must say, the first time I heard Jimi Hendrix, be burned into my mind forever, because it was, I think I was 12 years old, 11 years old, something like that, and we were in a school like rehearsal, and we were all rehearsing songs, and Mr. Wood at Ashbridge School in Lancashire was skipping through the tracks of this CD that he'd burnt, and he would skip through to like one of the songs that we were supposed to be singing, all the kids and stuff. And he skipped through, and then you just heard that intro to Voodoo Child, you know, the
Nice.
and you heard that, and all of the kids, like all of them, just went, "What is that? What is that?" You know, they were just, and he sort of like was chuckling, and he was like, "Oh, it's Jimi Hendrix." And then I remember asking my mum, I think I got in the car, and I must have been thinking about it all afternoon. I said to my mum, "Who's Jimi Hendrix?" And she was like, he was a guy, black guy from America, who was like a musician, and I think he choked to death on his own sick. And I was 11 or 12 years old, and I was sort of like, what? You know, that's crazy. What is, you know, what do you mean he choked to death on his own sick? That's awful. So yeah, from there, I was listening to Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and all that kind of stuff. And so skip forward to about 17, 16, 17, I move into this area, go to Stroud College, and then tried to start a band, but I thought that I could be like Jim Morrison. I thought I could just have long hair, look cool, get a load of guys, and then we'd make a band. Like it was the 60s.
Cool band.
Make a cool rock band, you know. I was at college.
Take the world by storm.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And what happened was nobody wanted to play the music that I wanted to play. So then,
Which was
you know, the Doors and the Velvet Underground and that kind of stuff. And I mean, it obviously was a blues fan as well via that kind of music. I kind of got into it later. You know, you start with a genre of music or some bands, and then you kind of work backwards. And, you know, you go, oh well, who influenced them, and all that kind of thing. So. Realised that no one wanted to play the music that I wanted to play, so I just picked up an acoustic guitar and started teaching myself. When I was 17.
So that initial idea was to be the singer in the band and the front man, rather than...
Only because I didn't play anything.
Right.
That's why.
And because, you know, who doesn't want to be the front
Exactly.
man?
Who doesn't want to be Jim Morrison?
The guy.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was more because I thought, well, I've sung a bit in choir, and I don't play an instrument, so I can't like turn up. I was naive enough to think that I could just form a band, but I wasn't naive enough to think that I could just turn up with a guitar and it would just start happening. I knew that you had to put in effort to like make it, to play guitar and stuff. So I started teaching myself, and the first 2 songs I think I taught myself, or tried to learn, I should say, were Rumble,
Right.
which is, you know, kind of like what all my heroes taught themselves back in the late 50s, early 60s, and Heroin by the Velvet Underground, which is literally 2 chords, it's just D and G the whole way through, and yeah, I started there, and now I'm 31 and own part of a guitar shop and play at blues jams and recorded an album and played in bands, and yeah, I got there.
You've done it. You've done it.
Almost.
You're in.
Yeah.
You're on.
Yeah, it just took 13, 14 years of yeah.
Well, you know, it goes like that, doesn't it? It goes like that.
Yeah, it's not as easy and quick as you might necessarily want it to be. I kind of do sometimes think, oh, I wonder what would have happened when I was 12 or 13 and I did those first few guitar lessons. If I hadn't have stopped, if I'd have just kept going, just stuck at it. So if any kid comes in and they're like into guitar and they're 13, 14, I'm always very like encouraging, because I think it's a really important thing to do. And if you can get to it when you're really young, and you can, you know, by the time you're 20, 25, you'll be incredible.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention that, because that is certainly something that I'm experiencing at the moment. That idea, because I was having guitar lessons at school. We're going back to the 90s there. And I was taking it seriously and trying to get into it, but I was always really intimidated by the idea of music theory, or guitar theory.
Yeah.
And so I was very much one of those, like, oh, I just want to learn some riffs.
Yeah.
instead of I want to learn what I'm doing with this thing.
Yes.
And it's only been, as people are probably bored of hearing now, the last sort of 4 or 5 years where I've made that conscious choice of I want to understand what I'm doing or what's happening here. And maybe like you just sort of alluded to, I really regret, like, God damn, what if I just stuck at that when I was like 13, 14, like actually taking the time to go, oh, this is what's called a pentatonic scale, is it? Okay, right, that's useful. What do I do with that?
But there are,
everything, right.
There are guys...
Not quite everything.
There are guys that come in and they're in their 50s, late 50s, you know, they're coming up to retirement, they've got a bit more time. You know, you've got, 15 years on those guys?
Yeah.
You know? You know, you're going to be 15 years more ahead of them by the time you're in your mid-50s, you know? And I'm teaching 2 guys at the moment, one of them's in his mid-60s and one of them's 70, 71, something like that.
Wow.
The oldest guy that ever came into the shop and wanted to learn guitar was 91 years old.
Wow.
And he walked out with a classical guitar. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
foot stand and everything.
No,
for it.
no, he just had just the classical guitar. But yeah, so it's never too late. It's never too late.
No.
And people come in and you know they're in their 40s and they're sort of like but it you know it's never too late. It's never too. If you're in your 70s and you're giving it a go, then you know
it's never too late, and it can't be that complicated because even I've picked some stuff up, and I think if I can do it, anyone can pick up enough basics to
I
get
feel
going.
that way. I feel that way. I feel that way. You know, it's. You just have to do it. You just have to play. You just have to play. And what you think is a fantastic thing that you've done. You know, you started up again, obviously a bit later in life, and you've just like come to the blues jams and rocked up and I was chatting with Dan about this earlier today or something. It's fantastic because a lot of people kind of stay in the bedroom and get really, but you're like really in the mix with everything and. It's fantastic. I think you should just get out there and play, meet musicians. You only ever really get better when you play with other musicians.
Yeah.
I always love. The first time I went to the blues jam, the first song that I ever played was with Anthony.
Right.
And I hadn't played blues for like a long time, really. I'd not. And it was. What was the song? It was. Not Howlin' Wolf. It was a Howlin' Wolf song. It's Killing Floor.
Right.
And he was like, oh, it's Killing Floor. And I'm like, which version? The Jimi Hendrix or the and I think he kind of played a mixture of kind of both the Howlin' Wolf and the Jimi Hendrix version. So that was like a trial by fire, And the first blues jam that I came to, it was the one where they had like a stage set up.
Right.
Have you ever been to it?
When it's on the side. That was the first one I ever went to.
Oh.
It was on the side.
Did we go to the first blues
Was that
jam?
early last year? Like sort of February, March last year?
Yeah.
Right, was that your first one?
Yeah, that was my first one. Yeah, man. Oh, cool. That's very cool. Yeah. And I was playing with Anthony, and I was like, I was like, oh, who's this guy with the like gold top Les Paul? He might be the guy with all the gear and no idea. Turns out he's the guy with all the gear and a lot of idea.
And all the ideas. I've said this to. I think I said it in the interview. Like I remember sitting there thinking, yeah, all right, that looks like a pretty authentic Les Paul. And then the moment he got up there, the first couple of notes, I'm like, yep. He should have an authentic Les Paul.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, get on with that. You're doing fine. Yeah.
So it was a proper trial by fire. But yeah, it was great. And I put it off for about 6 months.
Right.
I put it off for like 6 months, maybe, I don't know, 7, 6, 5, 4 months, something like that. Anyway, and finally, I went, and I haven't missed one since.
Right.
I've been to every single one.
Right.
And because obviously, now been with the Blues Triad and Mark and Rob and Jez and everyone, and just playing. I came at the Blues Jam for just playing reasons. I kind of treat it like that as well. Like I'm a singer as well. Like I do my own original music and stuff, which I sing. But I've sung maybe 2 songs out of the 2 years I've been going, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. And sometimes everyone's like, oh, go on, it's like sing one. It's like, I like going up and playing. it's the nice thing about being in the blues triad. I'm a second fiddle, you know.
Right.
Mark's the front man, you know.
Yeah.
It's cool being a front man and stuff, but sometimes you just want to be a musician. You just want to play. And it's a different headspace, I would say.
I just want to come back briefly.
Yeah.
So you were trying to start bands.
Oh yeah.
At college,
Yes.
and then you decided to get a guitar. Did
Yes.
you go back to having lessons, or did you sort of start teaching yourself?
No,
or
it was all YouTube. It was
Right.
all like, you know, just in guitar, and you know, just typing in, I don't know, whatever, like Jimi Hendrix all along the Watchtower lesson.
right?
And this was like early days, fairly early days of YouTube. So this is like 2011, 2012. So it's before
Right.
it became quite corporate and people had proper YouTube like channels and jobs.
With half decent equipment to use and,
Exactly,
and tab
yeah.
on the bottom and stuff. Yeah, okay,
It was
right.
all so. Sometimes you could search around for some stuff and you could find it, but yeah, just all my friends at college, even though they didn't want to be in a band with me, they did play guitar. So I would ask or jam.
And were you doing music there at Stroud? Or?
No, I was doing games design.
Right.
I enrolled for music and games design, and then I picked games design.
Right.
Yeah, that was a choice. That was a choice.
There's value in both. I
Yeah,
can well
yeah.
imagine, yeah.
What I worked out with that was I like playing video games. I
Right.
don't really like designing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to find that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But there you go.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm interested in that learning curve.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm interested in that learning curve of going from, I want to start a band, I want to sing. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to learn the guitar slightly again, dare I say, like you said, and then were you also educating yourself about other different guitarists, and like you said about you like a lot of people have said that you were reverse engineering and finding out like, oh, if that's who that guy was inspired by, let's look them up and then let's find out
Yeah.
who they were, and so on
Yeah.
and so forth until
Yeah.
you get back
Big
to
time. Like I am a bit of a, I don't know. Like I'm a bit of a music historian or blues historian or whatever. I don't know, music of the 20th century. I'm really into finding out the facts and finding out about the people's lives, and
Right.
not just like gear that they use. Sometimes the gears, it's normally about people's lives and musical lives and who they recorded with and the different eras, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Yeah, the thing is, if you start with pretty much any form of music, if you go through their influences and their influences and you keep going far enough back, you end up at Charlie Patton.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like the classic saying is, I think it was Willie Nelson, was blues is the roots, the rest is the fruits. You know, it all kind of starts there, really. I mean, you know, certain songs go back even further, and like they're old English folk songs. Like the classic one is "House of the Rising Sun." It's like a 400 or 500-year-old song
Right.
originally, and then everyone goes, "Oh, it's the Animals," or "It's Leadbelly." It's not Leadbelly. It's like very, very, very
It
old.
goes back further
It goes
than that,
back
way
a long
back.
time.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I would just, I was always in. To start off with, the guitar was a means to an end. I wanted to play music, and I
Right.
picked guitar because I liked guitar players and because, I don't know, the piano didn't make sense to me, I suppose.
Right.
Or you know, rocking a cello is difficult.
It's even more to lug around than a guitar and
Exactly,
an amp. So,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
get that. Yep. No frets.
No frets, no.
Awkward.
You know, so yeah, I just kind of, it was a means to an end. Yeah, I
Right.
really just learnt.
To help you facilitate writing songs, or because you also wanted
yeah,
to play
yeah.
other people's stuff?
Yeah,
Right.
both. And I would learn riffs, or I would learn like chord patterns, and a lot of the time I didn't know what I was doing, especially for the first few years, because it was piecing all these things together.
Right.
You know, which I've slowly done, which I'm still doing now. You know, I'm getting into more kind of jazzy-esque things, and it's like a world that I don't know. But I've cobbled together a lot of my music knowledge. No, I know a little bit of theory, but it's very limited.
Right.
I use my ear most these days,
Right.
which is something that I could never do. Even 5 years ago, I couldn't really do it. But I've just been working songs out by ear just constantly kind of working on that.
And when you say that, I'm always interested in the detail of that. Is that like down to solos or more like chord progressions and here's a real one for you.
Yeah. Go on,
Well, when
yeah,
you say you're working it out,
yeah.
can you listen to something and go, oh, I know where that is, or do you play around until you go, oh, there it is, I got it?
Bit of both.
Right,
Bit of
nice,
both.
okay.
Bit of both. Yeah, I kind of find chord progressions harder to work out. Some
Right.
people find chord progressions easier,
Right.
but because I don't necessarily know which chords are in a key,
Right.
like just knowing
Instantly,
it instantly,
yeah, right.
I can kind of then I kind of sometimes get a bit stuck. I've literally learnt a whole like a sax solo on
Right.
guitar by just
Transcribing it.
by sitting there
By listening to it.
by listening to it.
Wow, yeah, okay.
Slowing it down to like not quarter speed, half speed, or
Right.
and then just slowly finding the notes. I mean, it took hours. It took hours, but I finally got there. The thing is, the more you do it, the more the easier it is. The easier it is to do, and just the more that you know the fretboard, even if you know it in your own language, you don't
Right.
know it. You know, things like the cage system. That's always a helpful one.
Right.
I was doing it last night. I was playing along to some. What was I playing along to? Raikuda. I was playing along to some Raikuda, and I could
Right.
see where he was. He had a capo on the 4th, 5th fret, and I know that he plays in either open G or open D. So I
Right.
picked open D, put the capo on, strummed the first note, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what he's
That's
playing.
where we're at, right.
And he was just going between two chords.
Right.
And so I just kind of found those two, and I kind of could, and because I was watching a live version of him, I was kind of finding these things. But because I kind of know a little bit about open D slide tuning, because I mess around with it sometimes, I kind of know the rules, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely brush up on my knowledge, but sometimes I don't know. It's good to have a balance of both. It's good to just kind of go your own way with it, but it's also a good thing to kind of brush up, you know,
I mean,
the technical stuff.
The only thing I'm learning about music theory is the more I learn about it, the more I see there is to learn. Like flipping heck, like just
Yeah,
which is fine and great, and I like that, and I like that there are standard objectives,
yes,
objective realities.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. I like that. Yes, music is free and it's creative and all that sort of jazz. And that's totally cool, and I like that, and I get that, and I get all that. Do whatever you want, man. But I also get, but there are keys.
Yeah.
And there is being in tune.
Yeah.
And there is either you're playing the melody right or you're not.
Yes, or you're playing jazz, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I really try and take the wisdom of just people that have lived before me. I mean, in everything, but obviously in music players, you know, the classic example of something that you kind of just said is playing something that's slightly out of key. The Miles Davis thing was, if you play something wrong, do it again. When you do it again, it kind of sounds like you're trying to do it, and then and then the third one, if you do it right, then it just sounds like, you know, a riff. It sounds like you meant to do it. Sometimes, you know, leaning into a big mistake, missing big. That's another one that I've heard. You know, if you're going to miss big.
Right.
You know, like if you're going to clang on the guitar, clang right on it. You really clang it.
Make it a thing.
Make it a thing, instead of being nervous about it. I don't know. You know, Jimi Hendrix didn't read music. Probably was the best guitar player that's ever lived. If not, he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
Do you need to read music? Django Reinhardt didn't read music.
Don't think Clapton does either, does he?
No.
From what I understand.
I don't believe so.
A lot of them don't.
Are incredible artists.
Yeah.
But there are also incredible artists that know all the theory as well. I don't know. I think it depends on what you play in. You know, if you just want to sit around on a campfire and strum old blues tunes that are 3 or 4 chords, then knowing the intricacies of Giant Steps by John Coltrane probably is not going to help you.
No.
But, you know, if you want to get really into it and get really out there with like psychedelic, jazzy, crazy out there stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have to learn some theory. But yeah, I kind of straddled the line between the two.
Between theory and using your ear.
Yeah.
So what do you have any good exercises for people with reference to using your ear?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you said the ultimate thing, which I can testify to as well, which is that whatever it is you think you want to do, whether it be music theory or some sort of technique or whatever it is, you just got to start doing it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be rubbish at it at first, and you're going to get annoyed, and you're going to get frustrated, and then if you keep at it, one day you might have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
But do you have any specific exercises that either you've done or heard about?
I suppose
to tell everybody about.
I suppose they might be exercises, but I don't really think of them in that way. Not to sound like really.
No, this is definitely a chance for you to show off. Please show
No,
off.
no,
please.
no. I'm not. No. I can't. It's not a showy off thing. I suppose. I would take like a phrase, find like a phrase, like if it's a blues lick, or something like that, or if it's and just like listen to that phrase, listen to like 5 seconds of something, and you don't know where it is, and just work it out. Work out that you're in the key of A or you're in the key of E. Know that where you need to be on the fretboard if you're playing that, and then find it. Start off simple as well. Start off simple, right. And also start off slow. Don't start off with Charlie Christian at 1,000,000 miles an hour,
or Yngwie Malmsteen,
or something. And then no, don't do that. Start off with Muddy Waters or something, right. Something like chugging along at like a nice pace, and then you can go on YouTube and slow it down a little bit, and then just work out like a bit of it, and okay, that kind of makes sense. Giving context to the rest of it. Most blues, or a lot of blues, is 12 bar. To think, well,
so it's going to cycle back.
It's going to cycle back round. It's all going to be fairly together. Yeah, definitely slowing things down. That's the big one. I do a little bit of teaching, and that's what I say to my guys. Slow things down.
Because like you say on YouTube, not only can you slow it, but it doesn't affect the pitch, does it? When you slow down the video,
it does after like half, I think.
Does it?
So right, but the first, again, if you're not doing Yngwie Malmsteen or whatever, then you can just slow it down by a quarter, and normally that's enough.
Right.
But yeah, just slowing things down. There are people. I've got a friend. Because I take lessons from people. It's normally like friends that are really good guitar players, and I'm like, do you want to hang out? do you want to come over for a beer and bring your guitar?
You want to jam?
Do you want to? Yeah.
And I can relate to that. Yeah.
But the thing is, like musicians, and especially if you don't do it for a job, but you absolutely love it. Like, if anyone starts talking to me about like Cuban music or blues, of course I'll sit there for hours and talk about blues and show you everything I know. I haven't got any tricks. I've just learnt it from other people. The very few original tiny little licks that I might have worked out that probably aren't original. I'll show them to anybody. It's not. I think it's weird to be guarded about techniques and stuff like that. But most musicians want to talk about music. If you're the most interesting thing is listening or watching or talking with someone who's interested in something. If it's about World War II, or if it's about pottery, or if
whatever
it's about
the subject matter.
whatever it is,
If somebody has an interest in something, a passion about it,
it's enthralling. And if you've got someone that's on the same page and they want to talk about that kind of stuff, then you'll talk about it for hours. And
the blues jams are brilliant for that. It's such like-minded people all coming together, going, right, what are we doing then?
Yeah,
let's get amongst it.
Yeah,
let's do this.
Because we're all kind of fairly similar-ish people, all in the Cotswolds.
Yeah,
It's a, I wouldn't say it's a weird genre to like, but I don't know. It's kind of like being in a gang in a sense. You can define yourself by the things that you like or what you don't like. When you're a kid, you're sort of like, I don't like that, I don't like that. But when you're a bit older, you're like, oh, I like that. Oh, you like that as well, do you? And then you kind of, that's how friendships and you can relate and, do you know about this? Do you know? It's just, I don't don't know, part of being human, I suppose.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, it sounds like there's a little bit of a chunk in the middle where.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's really
I
okay.
definitely go off piste.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I like it. But because I think, so briefly tell me about some of that chunk in the middle, because I also want to come to, like you said, because okay, but you said you were like 19 or so when you started working here, like for free on a Saturday. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you were forming bands, and you were all trying to.
Yeah. Again, like, you know, my first few years of playing was, you know, I could like play a few songs. You know, if I could get through like a Velvet Underground song that had like 6 chords in it, I was happy. You know, and I was trying to find other people. For some reason, the people that I found were all younger than me. So I was like 19 and they were all like 15.
Right.
And we tried to kind of start a band, but it didn't really work out. And then I got to about 21, and I was sort of like, I'd really like to be in a band. I think I could do it. I'd started to write songs and things. And so I joined my first band, which was Four Dead Crows. We used to play
Right,
in
so you
Gloucester.
didn't form one, but you went and joined one.
Well, the 3 of them had only practiced about 4 or 5 times together.
Right.
And then I came in, and then it kind of made it what
and
it
you
was.
came in as the guitarist or the singer, or
Both.
both? Nice.
Singer and the songwriter, I suppose. I mean,
Right.
there were songs written by the other guitar player, and then collectively, every now and again, we'd write a song kind of together or shape it together. But it was kind of the lion's share was coming from me.
And how would you describe the music that you wrote, or that you were writing or performing?
It was like it got more bluesy and rocky towards the end. It was a bit more indie to start off with,
Right.
like in the very early days, and then it was kind of, I don't know what was big at that point, kind of the Black Keys and Royal Blood. So there was a kind of a bit of that to it,
Right.
and then also a bit of, you know, Black Sabbath and Jimi Hendrix and that kind of. It wasn't that good at all. It was, you know, it was all right. We played some cool shows. I got to play the 100 Club in London, which was cool.
Wow, okay.
We played some places in Gloucester and like Manchester and bless you,
Excuse me.
and Bristol and stuff. We used to play.
Wow, you went
Cheltenham a
national?
lot. Oh yeah. Wales. We even played one in Wales. Oh, that's a story. That I will relay another time. It was a lot of fun, and you know, I was in my early 20s and I was in a band, you know, and it was original music, and we were trying our hardest. You know, the guys, Robbie, the drummer, Robbie's like a year older than me, and then Dan, who is a good 4 or 5 years older than me, and Paul, who's the other guitar player, he was 6 years older than me. So they were in their like late 20s, and I was sort of 21, 22. I was like the baby, and we were just trying to make it, I suppose, but we didn't quite make it.
Were any of those paid gigs, or were they all paid gigs?
No, it was a combination of the both.
Right.
Most of them weren't paid, or if they were, you know, we got like beer and, you know, like 60 quid or something like that. You know, it wasn't much.
Just enough to put some fuel in the van to drive you home.
Exactly. Yeah. But you know, it was great. It was great. You know, I got to play some cool venues. Never anything big, but you know, I can say that I've played the 100 Club.
Nice.
In London, so
nice.
You know, and when I was looking at all the people, because they got pictures on the wall, there was like the White Stripes, and some of the old blues guys used to play there. Like I think there was like Muddy Waters and stuff like that. So you know, I was looking at all that, and I was,
it's good company.
Yeah, it was a big punk venue in the 70s as well.
Right.
So there was like Sex Pistols and all that kind of thing. So I was like, you know, if I've done nothing else, and we also recorded some singles and an EP. So you know, that was very cool.
Nice.
So yeah. That was the middle, and there was a lot of learning at that point. A lot of it was songwriting for me. You know, I had to play lead guitar because that was I was kind of the better guitarist in a sense,
yeah.
or at least we were pretty level, but we both did kind of lead. But if there were like singular solos, I would kind of take those most of the time, which is something that I didn't really want to do, but because it's or didn't do until I joined the band, and it's a bit like, oh well, you know, if you want some more than just chords, you're gonna have to do it. so it was a bit like guitar playing in the beginning. It was a means to an end. You know, it was a necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention and all that. You know, I just had to. So I just was like, oh, okay. I don't know. I've always been pretty blindly confident about a lot of things. And you can just do it.
And those were solos that you were making up, because you were doing original music.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Not necessarily improvising on each night, but but you were making those up, those solos.
Yeah.
For the songs. Right?
Yeah, a lot of them were I would like put them together and then I'd play them the same every time, or variations on a theme. Like they were they were very similar. Like most nights. I wasn't at the level that I am now, where I can kind of improv stuff. I think every now and again I did, and obviously as the band went on, because it was quite about 3 or 4 years. By the time by the 4th year or whatever, I was getting better at guitar, because I was playing shows and playing and practicing and all that kind of stuff, and writing more and more songs, more complicated songs. So you just naturally get better. That's the whole thing about just doing it. You just got to play.
Yeah.
I was a rubbish guitar player when I started off, and I could play some bar chords and not much else. And by the time we finished our last few songs, we were getting pretty good. It's just I didn't really want to do it anymore, and I think it kind of lost a bit of steam and momentum, and we just kind of went our separate ways. We're all friends, but.
And during that time, were you working here or?
No. I was just working normal jobs. I worked at a place not far from Dursley, and then I worked in Stroud, just in in a goods in department for like a local company with my mate Craig.
Just doing whatever you could just to earn some money.
I think I kind of, when I got to about 25, 26, 27, I realised that I was probably not going to become a professional musician.
In terms of superstardom and world fame,
exactly.
etc. Right?
Yeah. And as much as we did try, it wasn't really going to happen. So I just kept playing. More for the fun of it. You've got to do it for that anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing it for that, 30 quid for some petrol and a couple of beers, it's not. It's not. You can't build an empire on that.
You're not paying any bills for that.
No. And unless you like living in a bin, then. So playing shows and. Yeah.
So at what point did you? You might have said, and apologies if you did.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you ever move from working here for free on a Saturday to working here?
Oh yeah.
Or did you?
So that happened a lot. That happened a lot later. That happened. Right. Yeah. That. Basically,
I know you've said you've bought into it. That's different than working here.
Yeah. So I worked here part time for about a year, maybe just over a year, like 14 months. Basically, what happened was during COVID, Steve, who started the shop, I think he basically Den was running the shop pretty much on his own during COVID, and Steve is a couple of years older than Den. He was coming into retirement. I'd worked with Den at a previous job,
right?
So he knew that we got on, and he knew that I'd been in the mix with the company, and I'd worked on Saturdays, and kind of in between in those years, I would come in and hang out every now and again, or come and working for an odd Saturday if they needed somebody, if they really couldn't get the people that normally worked here on a Saturday. They because after when I got hit about 2021, I stopped coming in for free,
right?
Because I was working and I didn't have as much free time. So I think after about a year I said to Steve, can I have £5 just for my lunch? And he was like, yeah, all right. So yeah, so there was a big gap when I was in that band, when I was just living life, just in my 20s, working just normal jobs and stuff, and I always kind of dreamed of maybe when I was older I could maybe buy into Intersound, or if Steve retired, or all this kind of stuff, and as the years rolled on, I kind of thought, it's probably not going to happen. It's it's a bit of a pipe dream or whatever. And then, in about 2022, I think it was, 2021, 2022, Denver rang me up and he said, Steve's going to be retiring in the next year. Can could you come and work on Saturday? Could you like help out? Because the first thing he wanted to do was get him off Saturdays.
Right.
So I said, yeah, sure, I'll come along. And I think basically what that was a bit of a test.
Yeah.
Which I've only thought about afterwards. Was he was probably like, oh, but we worked together when he was sort of like 20, 21. But
now it's a different.
It's different. And so we worked together on some Saturdays. And then after about a month or 2 months, we were in the car park just up here. And he was like, you'd never consider working here, would you? And I was like, falling over. I was like, sorry, what? And he was like, well, Steve's retiring and, blah, blah, blah. And, there's not really anybody else. And we think you'd be a good fit. And, would you be interested in buying into the company and stuff? And I'd be like, I thought this day would never come, sort of thing. I was like, oh, fantastic. Because the job that I did, even though I did work with some friends and my best friend Craig, which was really cool. But it was just a normal.
It was just a job.
It was just a
career that you were desperate
for. No. I was working in the goods inn, and we sold like pharmaceutical, like natural products and stuff. It wasn't very fulfilling. Put it that way. It was just paid rent and all that kind of stuff. Paid the mortgage. So I started here, and then started on the Saturdays, and then started part-time, and then rolled into me owning part of it and working here full-time, and Den by next year will be retired. He'll still be working here every maybe 1 day a week or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of it's a weird thing. I think if someone said to me now, "Oh, do you want to come and work for free on a Saturday?" I'd go, absolutely not. Why would I do that? But at like 19 or 18, I was like, yeah, sure. And I'm glad that my 18-year-old me did that, because that probably had a bearing on
absolutely,
me, like 29, 30, whatever, being able to be here. And I can't complain, it's running your own business is difficult, and retail in 2024 is difficult. But, I work on guitars all day, and get to talk with nice people and talk about guitars, and watch inspiring or trying to inspire young people about guitars and all that kind of stuff, and music, I should say. So yeah, it's not a bad life. I try not to complain these days, because I remember what it was like just working a normal boring job, and it sucked. And so yeah, if you can do something that you enjoy, then that's half the battle, isn't it? It's not even exactly.
So the answer is really obvious to people like you and I, who have been around some of this culture and or around things that are similar to it. But and as I say, I mean, like just remember that maybe not everybody watching this would get this, but why should somebody come to an independently owned guitar shop like this as opposed to some multinational or some national chain of guitar shops? Like I say, that's obvious to you and I.
Yeah.
But I'm also interested in hearing your opinion.
Yeah, I would like there's the big box shifter shops are all cool, and they can sell products that we don't. Your Gibsons and your Fenders and your Martins, that where you have to buy a lot of their stock, and you have to have specific terms and things like that. I think it's very, if you can come to an independent shop like myself, or anywhere throughout the UK, I think it's really important. If you don't support those businesses in 5 or 10 years when they have gone, and then you go into your local market, into your local town, market town, whatever, and then there's nothing there apart from barbers and pubs, and the only place that you can buy a guitar is in a major city or on Amazon, then you're going to be pissed right off. I think it's important to go to any shop, even if it is one of the big shops. Don't buy a guitar online. I've bought like 2 or 3 guitars online, but the majority of the guitars that I bought have either been in this shop, other shops, or in person with people. It's so important to like play it, feel it. Just because Jimi Hendrix played a Stratocaster doesn't mean that you're going to like one. Doesn't mean that you're going to like the scale length. Doesn't mean that you're going to like the feel on the neck. All guitars differ. It's why people that get very obsessed with brands are quite funny to me, because people that go, oh, Martin guitars. It's like they're thinking of a time where Martins were made, the Martins of the 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, that were made by very, very skilled luthiers. And now if you buy an £800 Martin that's made in China, it's not really got any. It's got Martin on the headstock, but it's got nothing to do with the guitars and the pedigree of, it might have the same design possibly, but it's not anything to do. It's who makes it. Yeah. Working in the shop and being around guitars more and more, the thing that you learn is it's about who makes the guitar.
The actual individual person at the factory.
No, it's more about. So, for instance, Epiphone Casinos, right? So they were made in the 60s. Really cool, really good guitars, and then they made them in Japan and Korea.
Right.
Up until the mid 2000s. Now the Japanese and the Korean ones, even second hand, go for more than a new one would now.
Right.
That were made in China, because the ones that were made in, I think it's the Peerless factory in Korea. If you're going on like Reverb or whatever, everyone will put the serial number because it will show that it was made in Korea in a certain factory.
Right.
In the Peerless factory, I believe. And it's because the people in that factory and its setup made really good guitars. So
is there anything about them that made them good? Was it like the wood they used, or the craftsmanship?
The craftsmanship. Obviously different eras. The big thing that people talk about pre-CBS guitars is because when CBS bought the company, and after a few years, the people came, the penny pinchers. The penny pinchers came in and started going, we can make it that a bit cheaper, and as soon as you start doing that, then you get a worse product. It's going to happen. So that's why the Gibsons and the Fenders of like the 70s aren't as good as the ones of like the 60s and the 50s, and that's why they go for a premium price. And why is that? Because they were made by that factory and those people. You see what I'm saying? So that's my logic of it. If you buy like a handmade acoustic guitar, you buy a Brook, for instance, that's Simon and Andy and Simon's son, and a few other luthiers that have worked with them over the years. It's those guys. Now if those guys stop the company but someone buys the name, it will say Brook, but it's not the same people making it. No. And in the same way that old Martins are incredible, and especially the pre-war Martins, there's loads of different speculation on why they were very good. I won't go into that, but they are well known. The pre-war Martins are well known to be really good guitars. It's because the people and the wood that they were using for that stretch of time was those people and that wood and that stretch of time, And the one that says Martin on its headstock, but it's made in China or whatever, is not. It could say anything. It could say Danny's guitar, and it would be, it would be just as good. That's the thing that I would take home is it matters who made it, not what it says on the headstock.
Right.
But anyway, back to
which
the independent.
includes what era it was made in, and so on and so forth.
So it can do. That's
part of who made it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a hard thing to pass apart. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors with like vintagey kind of stuff as well. Not a market that I'm really in, because obviously vintage guitars can be 5, 10, 15. I held a £300,000 burst once at ATB in Cheltenham. That was quite something. I was holding it like this is 2 of my flats.
Yeah.
This is 3 of my flats even. 3 flat that I could have my flat and 200 grand. That sounds like a better deal to me. Yeah. Because I could go and buy like a custom shop Les Paul for like 5 grand, and then I think I'd be 90% of the way there. Anyway, you were talking about independent shops or shops. I think it's just important to just go and try the guitars, try them in person. Right. I think it's the most important thing.
And would that also encapsulate part of like your advice to anyone coming and thinking about getting a guitar?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah.
Literally pick it up, hold it. Right.
Yeah. You've got the thing that I say to people when I'm selling guitars or when people come to buy guitars is, number 1 is how's it feel. Number 2, how does it sound. Number 3, how does it look. And then number 4, can I afford it.
Right.
the other bit of general wisdom with a instrument is buy the best that you can afford. If that's £1,000, it's £1,000. If it's £500, it's £500. But if you can afford 500 and you go in for the one that's 400 because you want to save 100 quid, don't get the one that's 500 quid. You know, if that is genuinely what you can afford and it's the better instrument. But price is also not an indicator of if you like it or not. You know, if someone gave you a 50 grand 1962 like pristine Fender Strat, doesn't mean you're going to like it.
No. Yeah.
So it's definitely not worth 50 grand to you, is it?
To that individual person.
To that individual,
no,
exactly.
Yeah,
you know, and just because it is 50 grand, because of the rarity and the condition or whatever, doesn't mean that it's doesn't mean you're going to like it. It might be, oh, that's really cool, but doesn't mean you're going to like it. But I'm sure that goes for cars and skateboards and everything. I'm sure that goes goes through every every manufactured item or whatever.
Now, this is the Blues Jam podcast.
Yeah, we should talk about blues, shouldn't we?
Well, we're going to because we all know that I have got the wrong guitar. So what is the right guitar for playing blues?
Oh.
It's a very tongue-in-cheek question, everyone. It's only because mine plays the other two notes out of the key.
You can bend to those notes. You could bend to those notes. Or if you got a slide, you can get even further.
But blues guitars only play the 5 notes out of the pentatonic, right?
Exactly,
That's right, isn't it? That's why mine's wrong.
I mean, what's his name has a 3-string guitar. He's the old dude that plays a 3-string guitar. C6 Steve.
Yeah.
He plays
C6
Steve,
yeah.
He rocks the 3-string guitar pretty good, and 2 of those strings are tuned to the same note.
Brilliant.
So you've only got 2 note choices. That's
that's your lot.
Yeah, it's
right
amazing.
There.
What kind of I don't know. It depends what kind of blues you're playing. I do think as guitars as genre specific sometimes, or that like they have a purpose. Like if you think of a Telecaster, like most people think country.
Come on then, get us one.
You want to get?
Let's have a look at one.
Should I get?
If you're willing to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. Look, right. Let me grab a couple.
I got clean hands.
Do you want to look at the vintage guitar that we have got?
Oh my gosh, what is this then?
1965 Telly.
Oh my days. How much is this worth?
£7,500.
Okay.
Be careful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's some authentic wear on it then.
Yeah, it's old, isn't it? It is very old, but it does feel nice.
Mm.
I don't know.
Okay, go and put that back, please. Please don't bring me anything worth forfeit, or do, but not. Tell me you've got insurance on it.
Oh,
You just casually just put that back up on the hook.
You like Stevie Ray Vaughan, right?
Oh yeah, go on then, yeah.
This is a Stevie Ray Vaughan signature,
Right.
like based off one of his main guitars, his Strat.
Okay. With the tortoiseshell pickguard. So, as I've said before and I'll say again, if you're only listening to this, we have a YouTube channel, which this is on. Danny's currently waving to the screen. And if you're watching the YouTube version, then you can see that Danny has just passed me over a Fender Stratocaster, as you said, Stevie Ray Vaughan signature model.
Yeah.
In, what are we calling this sort of burst? Like dark tobacco burst? Or
A sunburst, I'd call
sunburst.
that, yeah. Tobacco's normally without the red.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right, okay. With the tortoiseshell pickguard and gold hardware on it, on all of it,
and
actually.
And then notice the difference with that?
No, what the saddles?
No.
Oh, the tremolo arms at the top.
Yeah. So it's a left-handed one.
Right, left-handed trem system.
Because that's what Jimi Hendrix had.
Yeah,
because
well, he had a right-handed one, but
left-handed.
left-handed. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's quite nice. So we got the lacquered neck. Is it lacquered? Is that what?
Yeah.
Because it's not open stain, is it?
No. It's not like satin or anything. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with it being the Stevie Ray Vaughan, does it have particular?
Yeah, I think
pickups?
It's got Texas specials in, which are basically like overwound Strat pickups. So they're very hot.
Right. Okay.
I think the thing with Stevie was he played like 13s, 12s or 13s.
Yeah, thick strings, quite high action.
Quite high action, tuned down a tone. No, sorry, half tone. Tuned
like
to
Jimmy.
Like Jimmy.
Yeah. E flat.
And obviously this trem block was the other way around. But jumbo frets as well,
Right.
because he would rip through the vintage ones, so he just stuck
Big old
big old jumbos in them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the other
And
crazy.
what does that retail for?
Retail, I don't know, probably like 1900, but this is
Right.
second hand, so I think
okay.
we're asking 1300 for this.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a 2009 model, 2010.
It looks brand new. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's a lovely
It's been kept very well.
And have you restrung that and sort of given it a once over
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
Or?
Yeah, we set up all of our guitars, and we do
Right.
setups as well. We also set up for a few famous people, whose names I can't mention. Well,
Nice.
I don't know if I can mention them. We've never asked if we're allowed.
Well, don't for now.
Don't
but
for now,
I'll
yeah,
ask them and then.
I'll tell you when the camera's not rolling. How about
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Some pretty famous. One person in particular is pretty damn famous.
You set up their guitars for nice.
His guitars, yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I tell you what, a crazy fact about Steve Ray Vaughan that I do know, and you can actually see pictures of it. Was he does an interview and he puts his fingers up to the camera, and they're all kind of like black from like the nickel staining.
Right.
But one of the things that he used to do, apparently, was he'd put super glue on his fingers, put it on his arm, and then rip it off. And then he'd have like even harder like skin, extra skin.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah,
I've heard some sketchy stories of like sometimes not even his own skin. Sometimes
Right.
other people's.
Yeah.
Like
his wife or something like that.
I don't want to know. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know,
you're right, thanks.
cocaine is a hell of a drug, as they say.
Yeah. Well, he did clean up.
He did. Yeah.
He did clean up.
Bless him.
towards the end of
Bless
his
him.
life. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. What a waste.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. It was an accident, wasn't it? It was a.
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, was it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Was
No.
it an aeroplane accident or something? Or a
helicopter.
accident?
Yeah, helicopter.
Actually,
Yeah.
now you mention it.
Yeah. Damn. Like like OJ, not OJ, not OJ.
Colin McRae.
Colin McRae. Yes. Oh. Yeah. Colin McRae. And no, I'm thinking of the basketball. Kobe.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah, Kobe. I can show you one of my guitars if you like.
Oh yeah. Go on then.
He's
He's got it right here.
It's the only guitar of mine that's actually in the shop. This is a 1953 ES 125. It's just like Anthony's, apart from it's less original. And also, I bought mine before Anthony. I feel like he's copying me. I feel like
he's getting called out. Anthony's getting called out.
he bought his after mine. I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
That's tuned to something. Isn't
yeah,
it?
it's tuned to C sharp. So it's
Okay.
that's kind of another thing that I do. I tune lower than most people.
Okay.
It's from like Queens of the Stone Age and the Velvet Underground. They used to tune lower, and I kind of just got into that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah,
1952.
52, 53, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Please take this away.
Oh, don't worry, it's not worth
Please
loads. Look, it's not in the best of condition. Like it's pretty beat up, but it plays incredible. You know, this shouldn't be. If you've seen Anthony's, it's just supposed to have the one pickup.
Right. Okay.
So someone's put that in.
Okay.
It's also got, which I did hear in Anthony's interview, which was the snake bites.
Yeah.
which is-
Because you've got a screw in there in one of them.
Yeah.
haven't you? Right. Okay.
And
Oh
then
yeah.
the other
There's the
one's
other
there.
hole there. Yeah.
And obviously this shouldn't be there because it wouldn't have had a selector switch.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't need it.
And it
Yeah.
wouldn't have had this cut in here. This isn't original.
Okay.
These tuners aren't. But what is the wood
Right.
and the pickup and the pots, which in my opinion is the most important thing.
That's the important bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, and what from your single cutaway selection would you do you have a pick for us?
Oh, what single cut? What?
Yeah, because we've looked at a Strat or a Strat based one. We've
Yeah.
just had a hollow bodied one. Some
What
sort
about
of some sort of single cutaway.
Can I have something wild?
Go on then, yeah. Let's go crazy. Oh my days, yeah, he's gone crazy. He's gone absolutely left field here,
This is
people.
great.
He's gone rogue.
We're selling this on commission for someone at the moment. It's a Dan Electro. It's not an old one from the 60s. It's a modern one, but it's so cool. It's called a Wild Thing.
It's really light.
Yeah.
What is it, like
hollow.
plastic or something? Okay, it's hollow. Okay.
The original ones were like Formica or something. You know.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they were basically cardboard, like honeycomb cardboard or something.
Wow.
But they have a certain sound to them. Even the modern ones, they got kind of thin nuts as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
And you'd think that this is really weird, but if you like put that over your knee, like it kind of
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
it fits really nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
But famously played by Jimmy Page.
Right.
Jimmy Page
okay.
had one. Like I think he used it for Kashmir.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that model, but an old Dan Electro, and they just have a certain sound, like the if we talk about triady, bluesy type stuff, R.L. Burnside had one, and
Third mention.
Kenny
by
Brown.
third different person.
Yeah, R.L. and Junior Kimbrough.
Right.
The gods.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah. Sorry. Hang on. Then. So right. For if you're only listening, I don't even know how to describe it. It's black and white. What's that? 2 single coils.
2 lipstick single coils. They're called lipstick pickups.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a completely different shape. It's sort of, I don't know. It's like a bit of a Strat shape, but the 2 horns are bent downwards.
Yeah.
It's the 2 horns towards the bottom of the neck, the bridge end of the neck,
But
not the nut end.
Even the pots are kind of funky,
they're different. Yeah, they're
so
cool. Aren't
you've
they?
got a volume and a tone on top.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So what it looks like, one knob actually has two movable bits, and therefore does so. Each knob is tone and volume.
Tone, volume, or volume, tone, volume, tone.
Yeah.
Just cool, interesting. Like the weird effect on the
Yeah,
side, like
yeah.
the vinyl on the side.
Yeah. Can we
Yeah.
just show that to the?
Yeah.
See if we can get that in close. And this is all the white here is vinyl.
Yeah, like Hoffner's did that in the 60s
saying,
as well.
like,
Yes,
hollow,
it's hollow.
yeah,
It's hollow.
yeah.
But I think there's a block here for these.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty much almost fully hollow.
with obviously like a bolt on neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It was they designed them in the 50s. The Dan whatever his name was.
Right.
And they were to be as cheap as possible. But he got really interesting with the design. The reason that they're called lipstick pickups, I believe, the history of them is that he just bought lipstick capsules from like a lipstick manufacturer.
Right.
And so obviously, you could just buy them from source, and you didn't have to make anything special.
Right.
And then he used that and then put the coil and the magnets inside it. So that was kind of like a self-contained thing, and it was easier and cheaper to make.
Brilliant.
This is just 3 screws.
Yeah.
With a bit of wood.
Bit of foam, bit of wood or something. A bit of
Yeah,
wood, is it?
just a
Right.
bit of
Okay.
wood.
Bit of wood. Sweet.
They were made of.
Yeah, because with just slits to like put the ends of the strings. in.
Yeah.
There's not even any proper saddles or anything, is it?
No,
like
no.
that bit of wood is
Which
just,
is like an acoustic guitar.
right.
So yeah, it's kind of because it's made on a budget, and because he had to get kind of funky with the design, and it means that it sounds a certain way, which is not good or bad. It's just different.
Yeah, it just is what
It's
it
just,
is. Yeah,
it just
yeah,
is what it is. Which if Jimmy Page can play like a burst, but also play a Dan Electro,
Yeah.
I think that's the show of like someone that is using an instrument for what it is, or to like using the instrument to then how to describe that,
Like using the strength of the instrument.
Exactly.
For it.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank
get
you.
it sound. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. And like using it for what it is, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I play Strats. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
And then
what about when you
using-
play an acoustic song?
Yeah. Yeah. Or using a Strat and then making it sound a different way, as opposed to, this sounds like this. Right. Let's make a song that works to the strength of that sound.
Yeah. Or just playing it and like, that's weird, and then you kind of get inspired by the sound.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it might be a bit difficult to play, but it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Chuck it in a
just
weird
make it
tune.
work, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'll go and put it back.
That's cool.
Do-do-do.
So do you often like geek out on all the different guitars? Do you spend a lot of time being?
I do more these days. I obviously, if you were part of a guitar shop, you tend to get into things more and more. But to be honest, up until 4 or 5 years ago, I was really not that interested in it.
Right.
I always kind of, sometimes people do get bogged down in the gear stuff, and it's like, what about playing? What about writing songs?
Right,
what
yeah,
about
yeah.
And you'll sit
Make
there
it
and
do something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I kind of rejected a lot of the gear stuff because I was like, I want it to sound a certain way. That's cool. That's good enough. I've like recorded an album and songs, and sometimes I spent half an hour on the lead tones. I know people that spend a whole day, or you hear stories of people spending a week trying to get a lead guitar sound. I don't know. Sometimes my ethic was just a bit more punky, a bit more DIY, and just that sounds good, and go with that. Sometimes when you get into the gear too much, it can be. It's fun to a point, and then sometimes it's like, okay. But
Well, that was, I mean, like, I didn't have a bigger budget, but even if I'd had a bigger budget, I still would have only spent what I spent on my guitar because I don't feel I'm good enough to warrant spending more money. Not as a self-deprecating thing, but just as and part of that idea of like, do you know what? Before I worry about the tone, let's worry about what my fingers are doing.
Yeah.
Before
exactly.
I worry about like, is this going to sound ever so slightly different from some other £10,000 guitar?
Yeah.
Can I even make it do anything
Exactly,
first
yeah.
before I muck around with that?
I think the best example of that, or the thing that I find so funny is, I'm really into like the old 20s and 30s blues, like Robert Johnson and Bucka White and Mississippi John Hurt and all those guys. Most of those guys played on Stellars and crappy, not very good made guitars that you could buy in general stores.
Right.
You don't need a 15 grand Martin to play the blues. You can spend 200 quid, and if you buy a £200 guitar now, it's like the same as they were buying a $10 guitar back then. Those guys did not play the absolute best guitars that they could afford. They were working instruments and they were working musicians. Maybe at some point they did get a nicer instrument, but even when they had the top of the range ones, it was normally the basic model. Like if they had like a resonator, most of those guys didn't have like the fancy one with all the crazy, like the Brothers in Arms. With all those guys didn't play those.
No.
Those were rich people at the time.
Yeah.
All the
That's for the rich folk.
Exactly. Yeah. All the poor blues guys were playing working men's instruments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it was good enough for them. It should be good enough for you, I suppose. But it's funny, spending so much money on an instrument and then playing music that was played on like absolute tat sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of there's a funny kind of irony in there, isn't there? There's a funny kind of irony, but anyway.
And music that was kind of innovative, they were literally making it up. They were literally inventing some of this stuff as they were doing it.
Yeah, man, big time.
Right. Well, that has been a fair amount of time, which I could absolutely sit here and talk with you for another hour, no problem. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, we would have to do a part 2. Yeah. Because we only just started there, touching on some of your blues influences.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, I think we've mentioned the blues once or twice during this podcast, which is good. And I'm aware that it's really, before anybody starts keyboard worrying, I'm aware that it's been very guitar heavy. I am talking to other musicians who play other things apart from the guitar.
Some harp players, drummers and things.
So we're getting there. But it's also easy for me to relate to somebody who plays a guitar, because
of course.
I attempt to do that myself. So, but
should we talk about the blues jam at all? A little bit.
What do you get out of? Because you said that's the major one that you go to, and you've been to every single one.
Since I went to the first one.
Talk to me about what you get out of going to because you go to the Friday night blues jam at Wootton Under Edge.
Wootton Under Edge, yes.
It's the best one. No, it's not. There's no such thing as the best one.
No.
There's only the one that you go to and that you play at and have great fun at, or go and listen.
It would be cool to go to all the ones around the UK, but it would be a difficult thing to do. But if I was ever somewhere else, like a holiday, and I'd probably rock up to one. Maybe.
I'm sure we could arrange a road trip to.
Imagine if we did a road trip, like all of the Button
let's
guys,
get
and we
a
could
couple.
all go. Yeah.
Just rock up, like
Just rock up.
5, 4, like whatever,
Minivan
5, 6 of us.
full
Yeah,
of- full
we're
of-
here.
Yeah,
Like, what?
We'd like to play some blues, please.
Yeah.
I'm afraid this is a jazz night.
Yeah.
Um,
What? Who didn't check the sheet? Come on.
What do I get out of it? Just, I don't know. It's just lovely, isn't it? It's just like, I like playing with people, man. I like playing music. I can't be a professional musician, so the close second is being in a guitar shop and and going to as many jams and being in different bands and playing with different people. Like, someone recently asked if I played slide guitar, and he was going to do some solo shows, and I jumped at the chance. I was like, yeah, I don't think it's probably going to happen, but it was nice that he even thought of me. He's quite a famous local musician, and even if he wasn't like well known or anything, if he played like some cool blues stuff or cool folk, whatever, I'd jump at the chance to play with people. I didn't quite beg, but he was getting close to being the blues triad. And Mark was like, "No, I don't know about that." I remember one time when I was at the blues jam, and he was like, "Oh, you're just gonna have to start your own band, Danny." But I proved him wrong. I got in there in the end. So yeah, I go because it's a lot of fun. I like just being able to play guitar. Like I said before, I don't tend to sing songs. I just get up and play. I kind of treat it as practice / having fun. I don't kind of like, I've got to impress everybody. It's got to be perfect. I kind of make mistakes and just have fun with it. I like playing with people that I haven't played with before, and I like mixing it up. It's nice to chat with people as well, like yourself, and listen to some cool music. And it's a cool vibe, isn't it? It's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And some of the performances, when you get certain bands and they pick the right song and a certain person singing and it's all like all the stars align.
Yeah.
It's like,
there are some of those moments where you're just like,
it's like this. You could be paying £30 sat in like a town hall somewhere, or sat in like some venue in Bristol. And if you saw that performance, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, this is a bit rubbish." You'd be like, "Well, oh, this is a decent night."
Worth it. Yeah, this is great.
And that's free, or currently free. So yeah, I just like playing music, man, with people.
Sounds like it gives you an opportunity to sort of stretch yourself a little bit. Not stretch over the top, but like you say, it gives you that opportunity to play, which gives you that opportunity to just exercise those muscles a little bit, exercise that musical muscle a little bit and get it out.
Which I suppose I wasn't doing, because at the time when I started going to the blues jams, I really wasn't playing live. Not much. I'd been playing like a little bit, but there was like from the band till about a couple of years ago, there was like a lull where I didn't play live at all for maybe about 3 years.
Right.
And I kind of missed it. Wanted to get better. I started doing open mic nights and different things. But now that I play in a couple of bands and do my own original stuff, and play with the triad, then I've been playing more and more, probably more than I ever have. So, but I still go to the jams because it's just the band's there, you're there, Anthony's there, Nick and all the guys, and it's just good time, and everyone's just really really cool, really just.
It's kind of mellow, isn't it? It's nice.
It's just
super mellow.
And everyone's just really like supportive, and it's just a good vibe. It's just it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? There's only been a couple of times where I've been like, it's not been that good tonight. It's been a bit, I don't know, or maybe I was in the wrong kind of headspace. But if it was on twice a month, I'd probably go. Once a month is perfect, and let's just hope that less guitar players go, because there's a lot of guitar players, and now it's two per sheet, isn't it? You can't.
Mark's had to put a curfew on how many songs you're allowed to play, which I get.
Which is good, because then more people can play, and it shouldn't just be about certain like people hogging. And I'm sure I've been like that on certain jams where it's like, I'll stay for like a couple more, You know, when it's like less organised, and you know, you just kind of
sort of get away with
you
it.
can sort of get away with it because you're having fun. But yeah, it's good. And what's really nice is when like younger people come down, and then they come and like stretch their muscles and I think the other cool thing is that we're all getting better, like collectively, because we all play with each other.
Yeah.
There could be like 3 or 4 bands that could kind of form out of it, and you could go and play. You know, if we could all collectively like just turn up to like a venue, we could all like put an hour together easily. It'd be great. It'd be like an all-star band or something.
It could be interesting.
The blues jam all-star band.
Oh, I think there could be something in a road trip, you know.
Yeah. Oh
try
man.
And get a couple of cars together and nick off to a jam.
Couple of cars, couple of cans,
Sweet.
couple of guitars.
Right, thank you. I know there's still so much more to talk about,
no,
and we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, man.
Because we're already deep into this. But for now, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to do this here in
of
Intersound in
course.
Dursley, Gloucestershire in the UK. Love this venue. Love the guitars that you've got up there.
The best little guitar shop in the southwest.
So for now, for part 1,
Part 1.
Danny, please say goodbye to everyone and we'll sign off.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. See you later. So I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. It was great to sit down with Danny and to hear some of his story. And some of those guitars were amazing. That black and white one was definitely my favourite. So as always, I have notices here of jams that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. Now, a little reminder. This is just information that I've gleaned. I would strongly suggest that you double check these are happening, or you ask people about them, because you know, this is information I've got off the internet. Some of these I know for certain are happening, but I can't guarantee that they are all definitely happening. But these are jams that I know about. So I'm going to start with the regular ones. Colin Staples Blues Jam at the Navigation Inn, Castle Lock, Nottingham. That's 9 PM every Wednesday. The Great British Blues Jam at the Temple of Arts and Music inside Mercato Metropolitano, which I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of, so I'm really sorry. That's at 42 Newington Causeway. That's in London, SE1 60R. That's every Saturday from 3:30 in the afternoon onwards. The Blue Lamp, which is at 121 Gallowgate, Aberdeen. That's AB251BU. That's every Wednesday from 8 PM onwards. Then the Backdoor Blues Jam at the Orchard Inn in Hanover Place, Harbourside, Bristol. That's BS1 6XT. That's 8:30 in the evening onwards till about 11. That's every Monday evening. Those are regular jams. Get to those if you can. Every other Tuesday, so by my calculations, the next one should be the 25th of June, next week. The Cricketers, 34 Carlton Place, Southampton, Hampshire. That's SO152DX. That's every other Tuesday, like I say. That's from 9 PM onwards. And the Friday Night Blues Jam at Wootton Under the Edge Arts Centre. I definitely know this one's happening. This is this Friday, the 21st. That starts at 7:30. And of course, the Terror Plains Blues Jam this Sunday. Starts at 2 PM. That's on the Bristol Cruising Club in Bristol. Yeah. Many jams there for you to come along to. What's that? That's about 7 jams I've mentioned. Like I always say, if you're a bit nervous about going to these jams, that's totally fine. Everyone is. Don't worry about it. Take your instrument along. Go and introduce yourself to somebody. Go and find somebody who looks friendly. Everyone's really supportive, and it will really help your playing. So, don't delay. Get to a jam. Get and play your instrument, and go and find some other musicians to play the blues with. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for next week's episode. And like I say, if you like what you're hearing, tell people about it and subscribe to all the channels. All right. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.